What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be talking about a new movie called Smile. Oh. Obviously, some of the advertising for this movie has been pretty awesome. They've been putting people in like baseball games and stuff to try to spice up people wanting to watch this movie, which is just fantastic grassroots kind of efforts. I love stuff like that. That's perfect. This is a movie that was a Paramount Plus Pictures film that they were going to put on their streaming service, and they got some good buzz about it when they did some test screenings. So they were like, maybe we should put this out in theaters, and they did. Even the movie opens up with the director and the lead star thanking people for coming to see this movie in the theater. So what is Smile all about? Well, obviously, it's about people who smile. Well, sort of. There's a therapist who is a doctor at a hospital that basically takes in emergency cases, and she stays up all night long trying to help these people because of something that happened in her past. When Rose gets a late night patient for somebody that is seeing in some sort of smiling entity that she keeps seeing in other people, they tell her about it, something bad happens, and then suddenly Rose starts seeing the same thing. Now, this is a movie that was directed and written by Parker Finn, who has done pretty much just a couple of shorts, and one of them actually is Laura Hasn't Slept, which is the short film that this movie is based off of. So it's a remake of that short film, only in a much bigger, more expanded version of it. But this is his first feature film, so there's some familiar faces obviously in here, so you're going to be seeing quite a bit of that. The talent, the acting is pretty damn decent, and this is a movie that's actually played pretty straight. Think of it like The Ring, or movies like Countdown, or where they have this sort of what I call rule set horror, where they have these rules that they have to abide by, and this thing is chasing and hunting them down until they're out of time. And it definitely reminded me of the It Follows movie, even though it's not exactly like it or anything. It just has that sort of artistic flair with the meaning about it. It definitely reminds me of The Ring, The Countdown, and these other films that are much like it. Now, we did have another movie that a lot of people are comparing it to, Truth or Dare, which was another movie where people get this like entity in them, and then they have to do Truth or Dare in order to get rid of it somehow, but it bastardizes it and people die. It is kind of similar to that too, as far as like the sort of rule set horror, but it is much better than that movie. Although, some of the kills in that were pretty funny. In this movie, this is really well, very competently shot film that has oodles and oodles of dread that is building. Part of that is with the camera work, which is a great thing in this movie, and also the sound design that's on display here. The sound design, in my opinion, is fan-fucking-tastic. Like, they did work on this. And we went to see this at the Cine 1, which is like a Harkins theater, where they have speakers literally plastered everywhere so you can like hear it in all different angles of the theater. And man, boy, did that make the experience even more fucking creepy. Like, the sound design in this is just so unique and so different. It's got several notes and things in it, but nothing that's like too much in the movie. It's a lot of humming, like crackling, popping, like people whispering, and it's pretty unsettling. It's really talented work here. I don't want to understate the camera work and the direction as well. I think he's a really talented director. The writing seems to be pretty much, on par with these types of movies, and there is a lot of gore in this film. Not too much, but enough that should satiate some of the gore hounds out there. But all in all, this is a movie that is going to probably be a mixed bag for a lot of people, and that's because there is some stuff in this film that happens that I laughed out loud in a good way. I mean that in a good way. It's not intentionally supposed to be funny. It just is to me because I'm a fucking sick buck, and there's some pretty fucking wild shit that happens in this movie that I had to laugh about. And, there is some tragic stuff in this movie, and they really do show Sosie Bacon's character, Rose, being torn down. Obviously, there's a metaphor there, and it's a pretty obvious one if you've watched the trailer. It's not like they're spoiling anything by telling you this. But, you know, I think of when people have mental issues and you know, really want to explain them to somebody and no one really understands you or really sympathizes with you, they kind of treat you like some sort of alien or some sort of like problem. And this movie really does a really good job of kind of pinpointing that exact kind of feeling and presenting it to the viewer in a tasteful way in some regards. Everybody's like, put on a smiley face. So there's a lot of ripeness for horror in that statement alone that I think that this movie really puts a fine point on and presses on the scale on. But it is more than just some sort of shitty sort of rule set horror movie. I think there's a lot of talent that is involved in here, even if the scenes did make me laugh, and I laugh inappropriately a lot. For those of you who don't like to laugh or will find something funny in it and then go, oh, well, that's a cheap movie because I laughed at it. Well, this is probably not going to be for you. I know some people weren't into like Malignant and stuff like that, and that almost seems more intentional than this movie. But, you know, there's obviously those like sort of cheesy, so bad it's good moments that are in it that I kind of enjoy and maybe have some sort of nostalgia for. So if you are into those rule set horror movies and you want to see like a really expensive one that is actually done up and has the talent behind it, this might be the movie for you. But again, you know, it's not anything original. I saw some shots literally directly pulled from other movies. Like, I don't want to say what the example is, but I'll just say there was a scene that's pretty iconic, and I can't remember if it was in Grave Encounters 1 or 2, but it's pretty iconic, and I saw it in there. I saw some other review make a point of it. Was Chris, and he said that it reminded him of Terrified, which is the movie on Shudder that I talk about all the time. I could see that if you look at it. You know, it totally is. Other than the lack of a little bit of originality, it's really well done. Also in this movie, there's a lot of jump scares. I'm not a person that hates jump scares, but this movie does have quite a few of them, and they are effective. They work really well. But the thing I think that's different about this movie and your typical jump scares movie, because I think some people paint jump scares a little too broadly, and I think some movies, you know, it's good to have a mix of them. And when I say a mix, I mean like if the director's talented enough, they're going to be able to create suspense and dread like this director did and add some jump scares into it. There's nothing wrong with that. If they're only using jump scares and have created no tension, well, you got an honest gripe to have there. But this movie isn't one of those. So, you know, is it a movie that you need to rush out to the theaters and see? Probably not. But for those of you that like that kind of rule set horror, this might be just the perfect spot. But there's a lot of other movies out there right now in the theaters, like Barbarian and other movies that I would like to try to see. But I just had a whim for this one and I wanted to check it out. And I figured it'd be a movie that kind of would be on the fence for a lot of people, because I went in with low expectations just to have a ride, you know, one of those movies where you just get in, sit down, have a laugh, enjoy, and then move on, and it's nothing. I would say that this is probably a higher level one of those. It's not like absolutely fantastic, but it is good, and I liked it, and I'll probably be picking this up at some point in time. I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. It didn't hit the 8 mark for me, although it very well could if I watched it again maybe. There was a lot of talent behind the camera, in front of the camera. Didn't supersede it with any kind of originality, just really did it well. If that's the type of movie you might like, maybe this is a movie you'll see in a theater, but it'll eventually come to Paramount Plus and you'll be able to see it, I'm sure. But what do you think? Did you see the trailer? Were you curious? Did you have low expectations and expect nothing more than just a silly movie? Christina didn't like it, so, you know, she didn't really hate it, but she didn't like it, and I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I tend to like a lot of weird kind of movies that have spastic moments in the movie with a little bit of gore and fuck with your head. I kind of like those things. But yeah, guys, I would love to hear what you think about this movie down in the comment section down below. Did you go see it? Are you going to go see it? Are you going to wait for it to go to Paramount Plus? Wouldn't blame you if you already have the subscription. You might as well wait. I don't know how long it'll be, but I assume that it'll probably be out within a month. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button and the little bell notification if you want to hear when I have a new video out. We got a lot more. Voidtober is on the way. I just finished the trailer and it's going to be going up in a day. So thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.